Welcome to New Possibilities. I speak truth to power without fear. So I wanted to talk about this untimely death of Nipsey Hussle. Uh, by now, I'm sure that everybody's heard about this situation. The brother was shot and killed yesterday in L.A. in front of his store. And I just want to take some time, first of all, to send my condolences to his family and his loved ones, his fans. You know, it's just a horrible tragedy. This brother was only 33 years old, from what I understand. Untimely death. This brother was just on the rise, about to take off in terms of his career. He had accomplished so many things and did so many great things for his community. It is a huge loss to see this brother pass away at such a young age in an untimely type of situation. This brother did so many things, and I want to talk about some of the positive things that the brother did and, just share my commentary about this situation. This brother gave back to his community. You know, he came from South Central L.A. Sorry about the background noise. Hopefully it's not too much of a distraction. That happens when you do these live videos. But the brother is from South Central L.A. Instead of just getting rich and leaving the neighborhood and leaving the community behind, this brother decided to give back to his community by setting up businesses in the black community. This man set up several businesses employing many black people. He has a clothing store, he has a barber shop. From what I understand, he has a few other businesses in that community, serving his community, serving the people that helped make him famous. And I think that that is a great thing, actually putting his mouth, putting his actions where his mouth is. You know, instead of just talking about things, this brother was actually doing things. So in addition to setting up businesses in the black community, this brother also was promoting a STEM program in the black community. And that's for, a program that deals with sciences and, mathematics and technology and stuff like that, trying to inspire young people, young African-American people, to get involved in science. You know, often people are driven towards entertainment and athletics and all that kind of stuff, but this brother was trying to set up programs in his community to spark interest in math and science. And I think that that is a great thing. That's something that's tremendous, and we need more of that. And from what I understand, the brother was going to try to set up similar programs in other black communities around the country, including here in Baltimore. And that is commendable. That's something to be celebrated. And it's just a shame that this brother is gunned down at such a young age. You know, this brother's album was nominated for Best Rap Album, from what I understand, from the Grammys. So this brother was on the rise, and before he even got on, like, as a well-known artist, he put out all these mixtapes and stuff like that. And his career was about to take off. And now this brother is gone. And we know this brother had a history, a history of him being involved in the Rollin 60s Crip gang in L.A., one of these notorious gangs in L.A. and around the country. And we know that that's a part of his history. And it seems like that history came back to bite him. And, it's just a tragic situation. And from what I understand, people went to his store before looking for him. There had been incidents before. And this man actually talked about his enemies on Twitter. He talked about how he had strong enemies and stuff like that on Twitter. And it's just a shame, man. All this great potential just snuffed out in a blink of an eye. So this is a horrible tragedy. And I just want to share, some of my thoughts about this situation. First of all, it's another example of this pathological gang culture that flourishes in some segments of the black community. And it's just a shame that you actually have black people fighting and killing each other over streets that they don't own, over property that they don't own, over actual colors and turf and stuff like that. It is crazy. It is crazy that, somebody is able to leave that lifestyle and still get caught up in it. And that brings me to the music, the role of the music industry, and how it glorifies this gangster mentality, this gang culture, you know, that's something that's celebrated. And the celebration of that type of culture began back in the day. This is nothing new. It started with, you know, people like Ice-T, you know, glorifying gang life. And then you had NWA, which really took it to a whole nother level. And I will get to your comments in a second, but NWA took it to a whole nother level. They opened the whole floodgates, basically. You know, so after NWA, that became the trend, where you had a lot of people glorifying drug dealing, glorifying gangs, glorifying violence in the community, glorifying destruction and drug use, drug dealing. You know, they glorified the degradation of black women. So that became a mainstream thing. And a lot of these companies, these record companies, realized that they could make money off of this. So they gave this stuff a huge platform. They helped, you know, they exploited it and they blew it up. You know, they focused on that kind of messaging in hip hop music. So those are the primary types of artists that tend to get signed to these labels. They tend to get all the exposure and all the play on the radio and all that kind of stuff. So they hype that stuff up. So people think that it is cool to be in a gang. Not only, you know, it's one thing when you just have the pressure of the neighborhood. You know, you're in a neighborhood and you feel pressure to be a part of a gang. But it's also another thing when that negativity is reinforced and encouraged in the music that you listen to. You turn on your music and you're hearing music glorifying this gang lifestyle. And we know in most of these situations, these gangsters, we know how their life ends up. You know, we know that most of them end up either in jail or dead. That's what happens to most gangsters. Like even these people that have supposedly escaped it, you know, end up getting wrapped up in it. So this brother, like despite doing all these great things, from what I understand, you know, and another thing that I have to point out, he also had marches against violence, you know, to discourage violence in the community. That's another great thing that he did. And from what I understand and reading some articles, he actually planned to meet with the police today, you know, the day after he was killed. Like he was planning to meet with the police to talk about strategies to deal with the violence that plagues our communities, man. And it's just a shame that he didn't even get a chance to do that. He didn't get a chance to meet with them because somebody took his life. And part of me wonders if, because he had the plan to meet with the police, if that was part of the reason. He wasn't meeting with them to snitch on them or, you know, snitch on gangsters or anything like that. He was meeting with them to talk about strategies for ending the violence that plagues all these communities, man. So it's just a bad situation. So even though he was doing all these positive things, like the little bit in his music that I heard, like he was repping his gang, you know, repping the Rollin 60s and stuff like that, you know, still celebrating, you know, gang culture in some indirect way, you know, still wearing gang colors and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, I think that that's in part what helped lead to his death, man. The fact that he was still celebrating that culture and still in that environment, man. I understand the need to build businesses in the community, but here you are repping this gang, and then you're also going back to the same community where you know that there's open warfare going on. You know that, you know, there's conflict between these different groups. And it's just a shame to see this brother go, man. But it's like part of this, you have to put part of the blame on this whole situation on the music and the culture that's being celebrated, man. It's like, how many more young black men have to die before we finally get a clue and do something to end this senseless violence that plagues our communities, man? I mean, look at all these young artists in their prime, man, snuffed out. Whether we're talking about Biggie or Tupac, you know, this guy XXX that died last year, from what I remember. So many rap artists getting killed, even if you go way back in the day. I mean, like Scott LaRock got killed young. You know, so many of these rap artists get caught up, even though they're successful and they don't even have to do anything with the streets. They still get caught up by the streets, because I'm sure that some of those people had resentment towards, you know, Nipsey Hussle, because, you know, he's in a rival gang, and I'm sure, you know, people that were in the, you know, he's in this gang, Rollin 60s, and I'm sure the rivals or his enemies had an axe to grind, because I'm sure that he may have done dirt in the street or whatever. He was affiliated with people that did dirt in the street. So I'm sure that there were people that wanted retaliation, and they didn't care that, you know, somebody, you know, turned over a new leaf or, you know, is out of the game and all that kind of stuff. They still felt the need to retaliate against him. And it's just a shame, man. It's just a shame that we had this situation, man. It's like his past haunted him. He couldn't escape his past. And I think that that's part of the reason why the brother died. Now, I've heard that some people are talking about conspiracy, saying that it was a conspiracy to take this brother out. Like, until I have solid evidence on that, I won't speak on that. But it's just a shame, man. It's just a tragic situation. And this brother, Nipsey Hussle, represents the potential of so many young black men. We're not just talking about these people that are famous and become rap artists, but there are so many young men that have so much potential to do great things, but because of the toxic environment in which they live, they're not able to realize that potential. You know, some of these people could have been doctors or scientists. They could have been great lawyers or judges. They could have been anything. They could have been the next great politician, but because of the toxic environment that they're in, their lives end up getting taken at such a young age, man. Some of these people could have been the ones to find the cure to AIDS or the cure to cancer and stuff like that. But because this society has neglected certain communities and just left them to fend for themselves, a lot of these young people are snuffed out before they have any opportunity to realize their full potential. And this brother, Nipsey Hussle, was just about to realize his full potential, man, and he's snuffed out like that, man. It's like this problem of violence should be viewed as like some kind of national emergency that has to be addressed, man. And it's like this issue doesn't just deserve attention when it's a celebrity that's getting killed. Every other day, people are getting killed in a city like Baltimore, for instance. The other day, you know, there was a shooting where multiple people were shot. Multiple people shot. Something has to be done about this. And the same kind of outrage that we express towards the police that kill our people is the same kind of outrage that we have to express about this situation of this senseless inner city violence that plagues our communities, man. This stuff is not by accident. We also need to deal with if we want to deal with this problem of violence in our communities, we have to deal with the failing schools. We have to deal with the lack of economic opportunity in certain communities. We have to deal with the guns that flood our communities and the drugs that are pumped into our communities, fueling this type of violence that we see. So this stuff has to be dealt with on so many levels. And you also need to deal with community organizations. We need to have more interventions to stem these types of conflicts between these rival gangs and stuff, man. You know, something has to be done. There has to be some kind of action taken, man. You know, like, how long will this stuff happen? How long will people be killed? And part of me wonders, like, when I see these situations, it's almost like it makes me think about these artists as if, like, I wonder, like, if they're, like, basically in a situation where they have made a deal with the devil and stuff. You know, they're given fame, they're given fortune, and then the next thing you know, their life is taken. You know, in many ways, they have, in fact, sold their souls. And I'm not saying that that's the case here, but you have these artists that will say anything, you know, to get famous. You know, they will celebrate gang lifestyle to get famous. And they're famous for a minute, and then they're taken out of the game, either through death or through incarceration. Like that guy Bobby Shmurda, a young brother that was on the rise, and now he's locked up for many years. And then you got that guy, what's his name, 6ix9ine or whatever. He faces charges. And, you know, people are saying that he's snitching and stuff like that, and he's trying to get out and stuff. But it's like a terrible situation. Like, we feed our young people this negative message, glorifying gangs and stuff, when gangs are destroying our community. Gangs are killing people in our community. Gangs lead to people being locked up for many years. They destroy the community. So why do we have a music industry that glorifies this stuff? I mean, like when Delores Tucker, like Tucker first spoke out on this issue, people thought she was crazy. People condemned her and stuff like that. But she was a visionary in many ways, man. This hip hop has to be changed, man. And these people that have expressed so much outrage and concern for this brother and have, sent their well wishes and stuff like that, one thing that they have to do is they have to change the messaging in their music, man. There has to be some kind of change. Otherwise, this stuff will continue. And I'm not blaming this stuff solely on hip hop, but we have to understand that music has an influence over people, just like music and celebrity will influence people to buy certain products. It will also encourage people to engage in certain lifestyles. It'll make it cool to do certain things. We know, like, if your favorite artist or something does something, a lot of people follow behind them. That's why these artists endorse certain products. That's why these companies pay these artists a lot of money to endorse certain products, because they know about their power and influence. And these artists have influence. When they celebrate this gangster lifestyle, they are influencing people to get involved in that life of destruction, man. So this is a tragic tale, man. It's an unfortunate tale, but it's a common tale. And I'm sure that this is not the last of it, unfortunately. We'll hear about another rap artist getting killed. It's just a matter of time. And as somebody said, like, people are going to express outrage now, but next week it'll be more of the same. People will still be listening to the radios, will still be playing this music, glorifying gunplay and violence and drug dealing and gangs and all that kind of stuff. And it'll be business as usual, man. If people really care about this brother, they need to make some changes. We need to get involved in our communities, get involved in organizations that are fighting to stop the violence. Like here in Baltimore, you have a couple of groups. One is Ceasefire, another one is, I think it's No Shoot Zone and all that kind of stuff. And there used to be one called the Million Man March, or I think it's the 300 Man March. There were organizations, and we need more of that. If we really care about this situation, we need to get involved. So with that, I'm going to look at your comments real quick, and then I'm going to have to sign out. I'm at work. Shout out to Big Game. What's good? Yeah, definitely rest in peace, Nipsey Hussle, man. I just, again, send my condolences to his family. I wish him well. I wish his family well. I mean, I wish peace upon them, comfort to them during this difficult time. It's just crazy, man. Now you got a young girl that's left without a father. You got parents left without their son. It's crazy. So let's see what other people are saying before I go. So Big Game said he didn't think that Nipsey Hussle had any gang beefs. But Nipsey Hussle actually posted about his enemies being strong on Twitter. Like, that was one of his last tweets. Shout out to Ghost Rider. Shout out to Mojo B. So Mojo B said, why did he rap about violence? Now, I'm not as familiar with his music. I listened to some of his songs this morning, and I did notice that some of them were, in fact, glorifying gangs. But I don't know if that's what he regularly talks about. I can't speak on it. But yeah, if he was about that positivity, it should have started with his music. Like, I don't know if later on he changed his messaging or not. Y'all can tell me. People that are familiar with his music can let me know. I'm a hip-hop fan, but I really didn't follow him like that. But people, let me know in the comment section about his music, the people that are very familiar with his music. I noticed some of his songs glorify gang life. Did he continue to glorify gang life in his latest album? Please let me know. Yeah, he was a gang. Somebody said, somebody asked, wasn't he a gang member? Yes, at one point he was. I don't know if he was still affiliated with the gang at the time of the shooting, but yeah, he was a part of the Rollin 60s Crips in L.A. But that is a good question. Like, if he was, had these marches against violence and was trying to end violence, like, why would he celebrate gang lifestyle? But somebody let me know if he changed up his messaging later on. Yeah, it's just unfortunate that that's a good point. Like Mojo said that, mentioned basically that a lot of our heroes in inner cities are gang members or people that engage in this kind of violence, people that are thugs. And unfortunately, that's true, man. Unfortunately, it's true in some communities. So let's see what other people are saying before I sign out. Yeah, I only have limited time. I'm on my lunch break. Yeah, so somebody said, yeah, he was a gang member. He definitely was a gang member. That's all in this information. He did an interview on Vlad TV that talks about his history, and I'm going to post that in the description box when I get a chance. It'll probably be after I leave work and everything, so y'all look out for that. But yeah, man, and then I didn't even know that his father is actually from Africa, from East Africa, this country, Eritrea. So I didn't even realize that. I didn't know that until recently and stuff. So all these people that's on that ADOS bandwagon, don't try to act like you all love this brother when you've been bashing immigrants and people that are children of immigrants. But that's a whole nother subject. Yeah, we need to unite, man. It's just a shame. Shout out to Mika B. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, Nipsey was a smart brother, man. I saw the interviews where he was talking about like doing all these big things in the community, man. I had nothing but respect for the brother turning over a new leaf, doing something positive, man. I gotta respect that, just like I gotta respect a Jay-Z for, turning over a new leaf and doing positive things, building and doing great things in the community, giving to social justice causes. That has to be commended. I mean, this brother, again, Nipsey Hussle, could have just left the hood like so many other people, but he stayed in the hood and he gave back to the hood, employed the hood and stuff like that. And it's just a shame that after doing that, it's the hood that killed him. Killed in front of a store that he built to help out his own people. Killed in front of that store. And it's like, because of situations like that, I'm sure there are a lot of people that are hesitant to go back to the hood and try to give back to the hood when you have people that are like vultures. People that is like have an animal, savage type of mentality, and they just prey upon other people that are prosperous, that are even trying to do great things, man. And it's just a shame, and it's very sad. Yeah, so let's see. I'm going to read a couple more comments, and then I'm going to have to head out. I don't know enough about the conspiracy stuff. I'm not one to believe in conspiracies unless I have solid evidence. So Mika B basically asked this, what do you think about the conspiracy? His death was linked to Dr. Sebi's documentary. I don't know enough about that to speak on it. I will look into it to find out more about it. But yeah, so with that, I'm going to say peace and blessings to each and every one of you. I want to thank you all for tuning in. Please rate, comment, subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Also hit that notification bell so that you'll know when I post new content. Also, I want to remind people that live in the Baltimore area to come out to my art show and sale. That's going to be June 8th at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So hopefully I'll see some of you there. When I get a chance, I'll post a link to the invitation so that you can RSVP and let me know you'll be coming out. So with that, I'll say peace and blessings to each and every one of you. I hope that you have a great day. Peace.